This lesson is about the artist Wassily Kandinsky. The objectives for this lesson are for you to develop dexterity, control, and fine motor skills. They're for you to learn and identify the art of Wassily Kandinsky, and they're for you to practice a variety of techniques, including oil pastels, crayon, colored pencil, and watercolor wax resists. So Wassily Kandinsky was born in 1913. He was a Russian painter, and these are all pictures of some of his artwork. He was most known for his abstract art. For him, music and color were inextricably tied to one another. That means they were linked. The neurological phenomenon that he experienced is called synesthesia, or joined perception. It's a rare but real condition in which one sense, like hearing, triggers another sense, like sight. People with synesthesia might smell something when they hear a sound or see a shape when they eat a certain food. Kandinsky literally saw colors when he heard music and heard music when he painted. So in his paintings, very often he would play music and make the artwork based off of what he felt he heard or saw. He would literally give different notes, different colors, or different shapes. So to do this project, I want you to think like Kandinsky. I want you to play some music. Make your marks to describe what you hear. Choose colors that describe what you hear. And if we look back at his work, none of his work was necessarily realistic. It really gives you a feeling, and that's kind of what he was going for. He believed that certain colors and shapes could bring out feelings in people. So you have three options for this project. One, you could do a wax and watercolor resist. So basically you would draw your lines or your shapes in some kind of wax. So either oil pastel, crayon, colored pencil, any one of those contain wax in them and you can use them. And then you would use paint to paint over it. And one tip, if you use light colors like white or yellow, if you paint over that, they're going to stay that color because watercolor and water resist the wax. That means that it won't soak into it. Your second option, option two, is to create an abstract piece of art using whatever materials you have at home. So you might have drawing supplies, painting supplies, sculpting supplies, collaging. Make an abstract piece of art that goes along with whatever music you're listening to. Option three is based more off of one of his specific paintings. It's called Kandinsky Circles. So you can take your paper and fold it in half 3 times. And I'm going to show you how to do that after I go through this PowerPoint. So don't have to worry about that. So you're going to fold it in half 3 times. That's going to give you 8 sections. Then you're either going to use oil pastels, crayons, color pencils, something with wax in it, and you're going to start with 1 dot in the middle of each rectangle. Then you're going to add another circle around that or another ring around that of a different color, and then another one, and then another one. And you're going to keep going until your circle or your rings are about as big as you want them to be within that rectangle. Now, you're then going to keep doing this for each rectangle. Once you have your concentric circles in every rectangle, now you're ready to add the paint. Now you might be like, what is a concentric circle? A concentric circle is when you have a bunch of circles right on top of each other and they all have the same center. So your next step is to paint over each rectangle with different colors. The watercolors will resist the wax and it'll fill in all the uncolored paper. If you don't have watercolor paint, you can also use a tissue and smudge the outer rings of the oil pastel if you're using oil pastel. If you are using crayon or color pencil, you can just take the colors all the way to the edge. So those are your 3 options. So I'm going to go ahead and do some demos for you onto how you can do the project. Okay, so for option 1, Um, Option 1 is just to play some music and use some wax things. So here I don't have oil pastel, so I'm going to be using crayons and a color pencil to just do some kind of light drawing. And then when I feel like I'm satisfied, I'll go ahead and use watercolor paints to paint the background. Here's my final product for option 1. For option 2, you're going to want to play music and do the same thing. Just draw while your music is playing using whatever supplies you have at home. So for option 3, you're going to fold it in half 3 times. So I'm going to fold it like a hot dog, fold it like a hamburger, fold it like a hamburger. So you want to fold it 3 times and then open it up because you want to have these 8 different rectangular sections. Then you are going to start by drawing 1 dot in the center of each rectangle. Now for this demo, I don't have oil pastel, so I wanted to do something for, I don't have all the other supplies, so I wanted to do something for students who may not have watercolor paints, who might just have crayon or might just have pastel, chalk or oil. So for this one, I've got my music playing, and I'm going to start with a dot in the center. And then I'm going to choose a different color, any color I want. I'm going to choose different ones each time, and I'm going to do the next ring around that dot. And then I'm going to choose another one. And I'm going to keep on going until my rings are big enough that I'm satisfied with how they look. And if I'm using oil pastels or crayon or color pencil and I want to use watercolor, I would then paint the background once I finish drawing all my concentric circles. Here, since I am using chalk pastel, I'm going to fill the whole thing with chalk pastel, and I'm going to use a tissue to blend it out. Okay, so I'm working on my concentric circles, and then I'm going to shade in around the circle and blend it. Okay. So I have done my concentric circles, I filled all around them with it, and now I'm going to use a paper towel, or you can use a tissue or a one sheet of toilet paper, and I'm just going to kind of use my finger to smooth it out. And I'm going to change to a clean piece, because if I use the same dirty piece on the next one, it's going to dirty the color that I've put there. And there are my Kandinsky inspired circles.